From the studios of Foxboro Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Welcome to Around Foxborough. My name is Jay Love. I'm your host. Today we have a very wonderful guest. His name is Wes Woodson, and he's very creative, intelligent, inspiring storyteller. And right now, I'm actually wearing his brand that he's the designer. It's called The Hidden. And he actually gave me this sweatshirt. Really amazing. So we would like to introduce you to Wes.
Thank you so much for having me. I literally am so excited to be back for round 2 of a conversation. I think when I met you years ago, I'm so glad we just be able to stay in touch, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. So thanks for having me.
Wonderful. So Wes, you just graduated from where?
Babson College, where I went for 4 years of my life. The best school in the world for entrepreneurship.
And what was your major?
So it's so funny. Babson actually doesn't have majors, right? It's a #1 school in the world for entrepreneurship. So they have what we call concentrations under business. So for me, I actually had the opportunity to not declare a concentration at all because I was able to design my own coursework. So when you ask me what's my concentration, I'll say entrepreneurship. But I kind of made my own major going along, if that makes sense.
That's great. And I know I've interviewed you for Color Magazine and different platforms, but The Hidden is your company.
Yes.
And then this is the brand that I'm wearing. So tell us what's The Hidden.
Yeah, so literally 3 years ago, I had the idea to start this brand. But to really understand what would it cost me to do that, we have to go all the way back to when I was 12 years old. Because I grew up in Sharon, Mass, literally the next town over, and I was a black kid in a very predominantly white community. And then I had these white spots on my hands. I still have them today. It's actually called vitiligo, which is a rare skin condition that causes white spots to appear on the surface of your skin. So I was literally called Michael Jackson, Oreo, Leopard Boy. And then in addition to all of that, I already felt, too white for the black kids and too black for the white kids. So I didn't really know how to really fit in. I didn't really know who I was as a person. So from the time I was in 6th grade, all the way through middle school, all the way through high school, I would always hide my hands in my pockets. And it wasn't until I got to college, I realized I want this to stop. I want to stop hiding a part of who I am. I want to stop hiding these spots. And I want to do it in a very creative way where I can inspire other people to never feel the way that I once did. And that's when I came up with this concept in college, my sophomore year of college, for The Hidden. Essentially is a lifestyle clothing brand with the mission of empowering other people to be their true selves unapologetically. So that's kind of where I say it's not just a clothing line, but it's a company with a very much of a social mission behind it.
That's really powerful.
Thank you.
And then it's amazing elevator pitch.
I hope. Babson taught me well.
Yeah, it's unapologetically, that's amazing.
Thank
and
you.
then you are using your true life experience.
Yes.
And getting bullied or teased by, and then trying to hide, and then I don't know how many kids are going through this, and then how they can maybe connect with your mission,
right.
and then brand that to not hide, basically, right?
Exactly.
And what's the red line then?
The red line is kind of like that symbol of don't hide who you are. I mean, our slogan is never hide you. So it's literally never, don't be afraid to hide who you truly are. And literally that, like you said before, that goes back to my story of I didn't want to hide my spots anymore. I didn't want to hide this thing that's very much a part of my identity. So what you see is the brand is really much about embracing your identity and all things that influence it. That's kind of the bigger mission behind it.
So now, how many years have you had this company?
I had it for 2 years. 2 years so far. We just celebrated our 2nd year anniversary back in April.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes, and then how are the feedbacks from your customers so far?
It is so crazy. Like literally, I was nervous when I first started. I did not think it would have the impact it did on campus. Like what I always tell my friends, it went viral. It went viral on campus because
Oh, wow.
so many people like adapted their own meaning to it, and that's where I think the brand is so powerful. Because if it means something to me, it can mean something completely different to you.
Sure.
And that's when this whole community builds behind the brand. And that's what we're finding right now is we're trying to build and mobilize that community. Because the whole brand is now a tool to give a voice to the voiceless. And that's kind of the beautiful part about it.
That's so smart. That's
Thank
so
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
And it's not just smart or like aiming for a marketing strategy.
Right.
It's about your authentic story that
Exactly.
people can connect to their own. That's powerful.
Exactly. I'm not trying to sell clothes. I'm really trying to inspire people. That's really what I care about. I could care less about sales numbers or revenue numbers. I really care about how many people am I impacting. If I can walk across the street and see someone wearing a hidden hoodie like yourself, and you tell me your story, I know that I did my job right.
That's amazing. I had that kind of similar experience about the hidden, that part of my life is being sexually abused from my father, and then I couldn't tell people, and I was afraid to tell. So this is like really empowering to me as well, that I shouldn't hide, because that's really part of me and part of who I am.
Exactly. You shouldn't have to hide a part of who you are to fit in or please other people. Actually, last month it was National Mental Health Awareness Month, and for the month we literally invited other people to share their own experiences regarding mental health. And what we found was so many people wanted to come forward. So many wanted to come forward and share their own stories because it is very much of your identity. And why do you have to hide a part of who you are? It's just, it didn't make sense to me as a kid, so I wanted to do something about it.
That's amazing. And then with this, crazy society right now,
Yes.
with pandemic, and then also, we just had a protest in Foxborough,
Yes.
George Floyd. Is there any feedback to your brand, like how's your maybe sales or people reaching out to you, or what's going on?
Right. I discovered a tweet literally the Tuesday after the incident happened with George Floyd, and it said we have an obligation as creators, not even just black or white, but we have an obligation as creators who have a platform to use it for good. And now when I read that tweet, I couldn't help but open my eyes. I'm like, wow. Not only am I a creator, an entrepreneur, I am a black man, and I'm a black man that has an opportunity to help other people and help empower other people to stand up for what they believe in. So literally now we're trying to build the brand and shift the brand as a tool, as a platform to literally raise funds for the people in Minneapolis, the people in New York City, protesters all over the country who are facing the problem that we're facing right now.
So how can people find out more or purchase your brand?
So you can purchase us online exclusively at www.thehiddenco.com or on our Instagram @thehiddenco, and it's @thehiddenco for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram across the board.
And then what are the merches that you have on the website?
So we sell t-shirts, hoodies, shorts. We're coming out with, we have stickers already, and we're coming out with a lot more too.
And then it's all your ideas.
I mean, I got to keep that part hidden for now, and then soon we have some new stuff coming out.
So, do you have any creative, ideas, or when you're walking, let's say I'm a singer-songwriter, I'm putting makeup on, and this melody comes up, but as a designer,
Yes.
when do you get inspiration to come up with this hoodie that I'm wearing?
It's so crazy because it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because no matter if I'm walking or driving, I'm not saying don't text and drive, but I'll be driving one time down a highway and I could be listening to some music or just seeing a car pass by, and if I see something, it'll strike a thought in my mind and I'll have to record it in my notes on my phone. So what you'll find if I show you my phone right now, there are notes on notes on notes on notes about ideas, storylines, blog posts, because we have a blog as well, about new ideas how to bring the brand forward to inspire more people. That's the really end goal of the whole end of the day, is just to really empower more people.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
May I ask how old you are right now?
I'm 22. I look like
Awesome.
16, but I'm 22.
When I met you first time, you were still in
I was
college,
I think I was 18.
Yeah.
I was 18. Yeah.
So you were working at the Foxboro YMCA as a counselor and a sports coach as well.
Yes, I taught your son soccer.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't even play soccer very well at the time, but I'm glad I was able to
You're a
connect with
summer
him.
camp coach, a counselor too.
Yes, I love working with kids. I mean,
Yes.
literally, literally, my goal is to one day become a public speaker. And I think being on stage and being charismatic and being captivating, that's what you do for kids. I mean, you have to somehow find a way to keep their attention from like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. for the whole day. So literally the YMCA taught me how to really captivate and hold on to someone's attention.
Wow.
So I definitely learned a lot from
I didn't think
YMCA.
about that
Yeah.
as like, a counselor can be like, captivating the kids' attention.
They taught us that in training. It's like, how do you
really?
keep their how do you keep their attention the whole day? And I was like, that's a great question. I got to figure out how to do it.
Wow.
And you just have to be charismatic, open, friendly, kid-like. You know. Yeah.
And then you mentioned that you're having like a book coming up or something, working on the book.
So that is a very, very secret project.
Ooh, that we wouldn't ask.
So no, I can talk about it. So we are actually in the works of putting together a book about how to overcome your anxiety.
Okay.
I haven't really announced that yet, so that's an exclusive on your part.
Okay.
So yes. So more details coming soon.
Great. And then I know on your Facebook page, I
Yes.
saw that you did the TED Talk.
Oh boy, yes, a year ago.
Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so it's my childhood dream. I think I mentioned it the last time I was on the show that I wanted to do a TED Talk. And then a year later, I gave a TED Talk. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. That was an amazing experience, only because, like I said before, it's been a childhood dream of mine. And the TED Talk ended up being about my own story, about how I overcame my adversity through the spots. And if you look it up, it's called Just Let It Fuel You, because it's all about letting your adversity fuel you instead of holding you back. Because literally, people view adversity as something that's gonna, hinder them or limit them. Whereas in my speech, I articulated how we should let the things we go through not necessarily hold us back, but push us to be better. And that's kind of where the whole TED Talk idea came from, my own experience.
So you generously shared the TED Talk video with us.
Yes.
So let's watch the TED Talk video.
I'm going to tell you a secret. But before I do, I think it's only polite that I introduce myself because my parents always told me it's kind of rude before I talk about myself for 10 minutes. So I deserve a proper introduction. I'm Wes. I'm a student here at Babson College, a junior. I'm from a small town called Sharon, Massachusetts, where I lived in the same house my entire life. I have two siblings who love me unconditionally and hate me conditionally. But besides that, I have a dog named Bentley, who is named after the car, I promise, not the school. But overall, I have a family that loves me unconditionally and encourages me to act outside my comfort zone on a daily basis. Now, you ready for that secret? I have extreme social anxiety. More specifically, performance anxiety. I get really nervous. My hands get really sweaty. I get really bad BO, and situations like these don't really help. And I always wondered, after 21 years of life, why do I get so nervous? What am I afraid of? And the answer is change. You see, I realized I was born in a world that is perpetually changing. In the 1990s, I believe the world positioned itself to progress into a whole new era. Take IBM, for instance. 5 years before my birth, IBM committed one of the largest changes this world has ever seen. In 1993, in 1 year alone, they laid off over 60,000 people. 60,000 lives changed right before their eyes, and they didn't know what to do. I mean, to them, they thought a job was guaranteed. You would go to college, you would graduate, and work for the same company your entire life. But for them, their world seems to change forever. And I felt like I could relate to them because I didn't really know what to do either. So I became obsessed with the question as to what do human beings do when they're faced with change? Do they cry? Do they run? Do they do what Rocky Balboa said in that movie, which I did not see, but I put in this talk for purely educational purposes? And do they get hit, get knocked down, get up, and keep moving forward? Whatever that means. But I really became obsessed to find that answer. So I thought I had two options. One, I could Google the answer like most millennials do, or I could look myself in the mirror and ask some tough questions. I chose the second option. But to be honest, I found a very dark and bright truth. Like I mentioned before, I suffer from social anxiety. I get really nervous. And people think who've had it, they've had it their entire life. But for me, I really had it when I was 12 years old. I can trace it back to a summer afternoon. I was outside playing basketball with my best friend. I thought I was Michael Jordan himself. I jumped from the free throw line doing this weird acrobatic move before falling flat on the ground. And when I got up, I had a cut on my right knee. And over the next few weeks, that cut did heal, but it left a white scar in its tracks. And my mom, being the caring, compassionate mother she is, she didn't tell me to put this in this TED Talk. She took me to the hospital. And I remember sitting in that waiting room, confused as why I was there in the process, the whole process. And I told my mom, black folks get white spots too sometimes. But she didn't believe me. The doctor came out and he took me into a room and put me on a table and he looked at my knee and looked at me and he said, son, you have vitiligo. There's not really a cure for it, but we can try some alternatives. And that's all I really remember. I looked at my mom and she didn't have a single expression on her face. Neither of us knew what was going on. But upon further research, we found that vitiligo is a skin condition which causes white spots to appear on the surface of your skin. And by the end of that summer, that is exactly what had happened to me. White spots had appeared on my hands, my feet, and my mouth. And they became so noticeable that by the time I started 6th grade that year, my friends took notice. And I earned every name such as Michael Jackson, Oreo, and Leopard Boy. My entire world changed right before my eyes. But you see, looking back, I had two options. One, I could change my mindset, or I could allow the spots to define me as the Leopard Boy or Michael Jackson. I chose the first option. But I realized I'm not the only one that does this. In fact, I bet you can too. If you're looking at stories like Malala, I was able to realize the only way we really can confront change is by embracing it. And for those who don't really know the story of Malala, she's a Pakistani girl who fights for the rights of women pursuing an education. And the reason why this is a problem is because when she was in 12th grade, the Taliban raided her village and made everything illegal from books to music. And even worse, they made it illegal for women to pursue an education. As a response, Malala spoke out. But unfortunately, this made her an easy target. You see, one day, when she boarded a bus on the way to school, masked gunmen came on her bus and shot her in the head. And after months of recovery and a long, long time of surgeries, she woke up with two options. One, she could allow being shot to define her whole future. Or another thing, she could change her mindset and use being shot as fuel to continue the fight for women to pursue an education. And I don't think if anyone knows this, but Malala did not live a quiet life. You know, she has gone on to inspire millions of people while earning a Nobel Peace Prize in the process. And I believe the only way she was able to do so is through embracing change. I mean, you see the same thing in sports, right? And as a kid growing up idolizing sport legends and sports greats, I really believe they had the greatest life lessons to offer. And when I say the greats, I'm not talking about Michael Jordan or Larry Bird. I'm talking about the greats who never really make it onto the field in the first place. Because I believe they offer the greatest life lessons. Take Inky Johnson, for instance. Inky Johnson was an all-star football player out of the University of Tennessee. And to him and everyone around him, he was gonna go first-round draft pick in the NFL draft. But on his last college football game, he took a hard hit, causing his whole right arm to become instantly paralyzed. Now, Inky could lay down and stay down, or he could stand up and do something about it. And today, he inspires thousands of people to embrace change in their daily life. And trust me, we didn't talk before this talk. But to be honest, I believe Malala and Inky were onto something. They teach us the only way we can really confront change is through embracing it. Because we can run, but we won't get very far. We can cry, but I'm sorry, no one really cares. And we can hate it, but we only hate ourselves. So the only way we can really face it is by embracing it. Because I believe the changes we go through make us multidimensional or unique. And I have friends who ask me, hey Wes, how did you get over your spots? I don't even see them anymore, they tell me. And I tell them, I don't see them myself. But to be honest, I can't take all the credit. I guess I did change my mindset, but I can't take all the credit for that. No, one summer I met this friend who single-handedly changed the way I see my spots. We were washing our hands in the bathroom, and I was trying to hide my hands to avoid the one question I did not want to be asked, but he asked it anyways. And he said, what's wrong with your hands? And I said, black folks get white spots too sometimes. He didn't get the joke. But you know what he said to me? He said, I think they're pretty cool. I think they make you unique. And ever since that day, I changed the way I see my spots. I don't see them as ugly things. I don't see them as handcuffs that held me back from doing the simplest things of having a conversation. No, I see them as tools to build up my self-confidence. And ever since then, I've done things such as speak on a national level. I've gone to Machu Picchu to hike. I've done the craziest thing of starting a business that inspires people to be their true selves unapologetically. I call it the hidden. And that's when it became clear to me. Change may break you. It may knock you down. It may cause you to cry. But change will never define you. So I challenge all of you to go home today. And when you see change, don't run. Don't cry. No, stand firm and just let it fuel you. Thank you.
So that was amazing, and it was your dream. And then how is the feedback so far? Are you getting some comments or like message, DM? What's going on with that?
I remember after I did it, I'll never forget, a blind man who was in the audience. I literally was like shocked. He came up to me, and I was surrounded by my mom, my dad, and my girlfriend at the time. And he said, I want you to know that listening to you speak literally just changed the way I see what I'm going through right now. And that was powerful. That was like, oh my gosh, I could never even expect that. So having reactions like that, it makes you think what I'm doing is worth it. Because it's not about the money. It's not about becoming the next Jeff Bezos or the next Tommy Hilfiger or the next Virgil Abloh. It's not about that at all. It's really about taking what I went through, my experience, and putting it out there to the world on display, and to literally use it to empower other people. That's all I care about. So reactions like that is what I look for.
That's really inspiring. And then a lot of us who went through adversity, like literally really have to have this courage.
Yes.
And then, got to share your
Yes.
personal experience, because
Yes.
there's a shame, you're afraid,
Of course.
and you're not sure.
Of course.
But when you're a public speaker, especially on a platform like TED Talk,
Yes.
it's just, you're out there.
You are out there, and that doesn't come easy. It didn't come, I can stand up here and say that I've done all these things, which I'm grateful for, but it didn't come easy at first. I mean, I did public speaking in high school, with speech and debate. All the way to when I was a kid, my mom made me go up in front of my church and recite poetry in front of the whole congregation. So I've been doing public speaking for a long time. However, this whole authenticity thing, I truly believed if I didn't start this brand, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you today. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. Like literally being authentic in storytelling and the power of storytelling, or what should I say, authentic communication, that saved my life. And I want to take that same power to help other people too.
How did it save your life?
So literally, beginning of my sophomore year, I was literally going through a very bad time. I mean, sophomore year historically is the hardest year of your college experience, at least at Babson. And it was hard. I just got out of a bad relationship at the time. And I literally was like, I don't know how to continue. Because even at Babson, I was still struggling how to fit in and find my place. And I felt like I was going back to middle school again. I didn't want to do that anymore. So I was reaching this point was, if I don't come out with like what I'm going through right now, I don't know how I'm going to continue. That's how my mind worked at the time.
Wow.
And literally, I wrote my whole story in a Medium blog post, and I shared it on Facebook. I'm not sure if you remember seeing that. And like I said, that post, the reactions from that post was crazy. It blew my expectations because it really made me feel like I wasn't alone in what I'm going through. And that's what storytelling does. When you actually put your story out there, you can actually empower someone else to feel like, wow, they're going through it too. I'm not the only one that goes through this. And that's the kind of reaction I got. I had friends saying, oh, my mom has vitiligo. And I showed her your blog post. And like, that was so amazing to me, you know?
Wow. So what storytelling matters to you is really to save your life or save other people's lives.
Yes. It's very, very important. And then I was introduced to the fundamentals of storytelling when my mom read books to me when I was a kid. I used to love just sitting between her lap, sitting on her lap, and just hearing all these stories she would read to me. And I was obsessed with storytelling so much that in first grade, I literally, during reading time in class, you know, you're supposed to go into the class library, pick out a book and read it. I would literally take picture books, ignore the words, and make up my own story according to the pictures. And that's when I kind of fostered the whole power of storytelling, like when I was in first grade.
That's awesome. So now you graduate from Babson, but you already have the brand, and then, you know, you did the TED Talk, and then you are trying to publish a book. What's next? What's your like maybe short-term goal or like long-term goal, but you're still young? Like, no, what do you want to do?
So my goal for the next, what should I say? My goal for the next 12 months is to become the best storyteller I could be. I could be the best storyteller of the 12-year-old version of myself. So I want to be the best storyteller that my 12-year-old self needed when I was a kid. I want to help actually empower people. That goal has not changed. So with clothing, with my blog / book that's going to be coming out soon, and with public speaking as well, going into schools and talking about my mental health journey, to show these kids that kids who look like me, who sound like me, yeah, I go through it too, and you're not alone in the journey. So literally doing those 3 things of writing, public speaking, and designing more merchandise to sell and for a good cause. That is how I look to become the best storyteller I could possibly be in the next 12 months.
How about maybe 5-10 years?
5-10 years? Let me think about it. In the next 5 to 10 years, I would love to become a best-selling author, a New York Times best-selling author, because that's a stamp of approval that you are the best storyteller in the world, and that's kind of what I want. Next 20 years, I'm 22 now, so I'll be 42 by that point. I would love to own the Boston Celtics. That's my dream.
You mentioned that before, right?
Yes,
I remember.
I did. I want to own the Boston Celtics.
Yes.
Yes. So that is literally my long-term goal, 20 or 30 years down the line.
You will do it.
Thank you. I know.
Yes. I don't know how, but you get there.
I don't know how either, but it's going to happen. And even if it doesn't, right? Even if it doesn't, matter of fact, I'm not going to put my mind that way. I'm going to see it.
You will.
I will.
Yes, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, Wes, it's been a pleasure having you
Thank you so
at
much for
Foxborough
having
Cable
me.
Access, and then really truly like sharing your story.
Yeah.
And then I'm so proud of you because I've seen you from like a couple years ago, and now graduating from Babson,
Yes.
and has done TED Talk, and then
Yes.
doing well with your brand and storytelling. I'm so proud of
Thank you.
Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. My mom tells me every day. She reminds me like you gotta like take a step back and like look at all you've done. But I'm like, no. I want to go to the next thing. Next thing. So I try my best to be proud of myself and reminded about all the stuff I've done, but I can't get complacent. You got to keep going, you know.
Wonderful. So thank you so much for coming to Foxborough Cable Access
Thank you
today
for
and
having
sharing
me.
your story.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching another episode of Around Foxborough. My name is Julie Love. We have Michael Weber as our executive director and Paul Beck as our director. If you had missed another episode of Around Foxborough, you can go to fcatv.org and then click on Around Foxborough. Thank you for watching.